You can spend years winning a race that was never connected to your assignment. That is the danger of movement without meaning. You can be busy and still be misplaced. You can be celebrated and still be misaligned. You can cross a finish line, receive the applause, collect the reward, and discover that you succeeded at something you were never called to become. There comes a moment when you must decide, will purpose define your progress, or will other people's progress define you? You watch someone advance. You see the recognition, the opportunity, the reward. Suddenly, what was once clear begins to feel inadequate. You question your pace. You doubt your preparation. You change your direction not because your responsibility changed, but because their visibility disturbed your confidence. That is how comparison enters. It begins as observation, but it does not remain observation. It becomes measurement. Measurement becomes dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction becomes imitation. And imitation, when left unchallenged, becomes self-abandonment. Comparison is not merely an uncomfortable feeling. Comparison is a transfer of authority. It is the moment you permit another person's life to become the standard for your decisions. Their pace governs your patience. Their methods govern your choices. Their rewards govern your definition of success. But their assignment is not your instruction. Applause can confirm that people noticed you, but only assignment can confirm that you are aligned. Speed can impress an audience, but direction determines your destination. Not every open door belongs to you. Not every popular path was designed for you. Not every victory is worth pursuing. You were not created merely to be ahead. You were created to be responsible. Purpose does not ask you to outrun everyone. It asks you to complete what has been entrusted to you. It does not demand another person's gift, another person's timing, or another person's reward. It demands your faithfulness. So refuse the borrowed race. Release the borrowed standard. Stop allowing public ranking to interpret your private journey. In this message, we will expose the entire movement from observation to imitation, from imitation to self-abandonment, and then recover the inner authority to measure progress by faithfulness, growth, contribution, and completed responsibility. Because the first question is not, am I ahead? The first question is, am I responsible for the road I am on? And to answer it honestly, you must see how one innocent glance at another person's progress can slowly become the comparison that governs your life. Seeing excellence is not the problem. Appreciating another person's contribution is not a betrayal of your identity. You should be able to celebrate what is good without feeling threatened, and you should be able to recognize wisdom without surrendering your direction. But observation must remain under government. Observation captures attention. Repeated attention creates measurement. Measurement produces dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction invites imitation. And imitation, when it is disconnected from purpose, weakens your commitment to assignment. Notice how quietly the questions change. At first you ask, what am I responsible for? Then you look at someone else and ask, why am I not where they are? Finally, you begin asking, what must I become to receive what they receive? That final question is dangerous because it no longer seeks growth. It negotiates identity. You are no longer developing what was placed within you. You are reshaping yourself around the reward attached to someone else. Comparison rarely introduces itself as self-rejection. It calls itself ambition. It disguises itself as relevance. It presents itself as competition, improvement, or the desire to succeed. But every desire must be examined. Not everything that accelerates you advances you. Not everything that motivates you belongs to you. Improvement and abandonment can look similar from a distance, but they produce different lives. Improvement develops your capacity to fulfill your responsibility. Abandonment trades your responsibility for whatever appears to be working for someone else. Improvement asks, how can I become more faithful? Abandonment asks, how can I become more like them? Then borrowed goals begin shaping your schedule. Borrowed methods begin consuming your energy. Borrowed rewards begin defining your satisfaction. You rearrange your life to pursue an outcome you never examined, using a method you never tested, to earn approval you were never created to need. And because the process happened gradually, you call the result progress. Remember this, what repeatedly holds your attention will eventually attempt to govern your direction. Attention feeds measurement, measurement feeds desire, desire feeds decisions, and decisions construct a life. So interrupt the chain early. Examine your admiration before it becomes measurement. Ask what you are actually seeing. Ask what principle is worth learning. Ask whether the desire awakening within you strengthens your assignment or distracts from it. You do not have to fear another person's excellence. You simply must refuse to make it your identity. Celebrate without ranking. Observe without surrendering. Learn without disappearing. Comparison is not an uncontrollable force. It is a sequence, and a sequence can be interrupted. Once you recognize that sequence, the next distinction becomes essential. Another person can teach you without becoming the template for who you must be. Some people refuse to learn because they are afraid of becoming imitators. Others imitate because they have mistaken copying for learning. Both responses are errors. One rejects wisdom to protect identity. The other surrenders identity to obtain results. Learning and imitation are not the same. Learning discovers the principle beneath another person's success. Imitation reproduces the visible form without asking whether that form belongs in your assignment. Learning strengthens judgment. Imitation suspends judgment. Learning equips you to make a responsible choice. Imitation allows another person's choice to make you. You may admire someone's discipline without adopting their routine. Their courage may challenge your fear, even when their strategy does not fit your responsibility. Their consistency may expose your excuses without requiring you to reproduce their methods. Principles can travel. Methods must be tested. Before you adopt what you see, apply 3 filters. First, identify the principle beneath the method. Is it discipline, preparation, courage, patience, service, or focus? Second, test that principle against your present responsibility. Does it address what you are actually called to develop? Third, adapt only what strengthens your authentic contribution. Do not copy the container and miss the content. Do not reproduce the schedule and ignore the discipline. Do not chase the visible result while neglecting the invisible character that made the result sustainable. Originality does not mean rejecting every influence. A mature identity can receive instruction without surrendering authorship. You do not prove that you know who you are by refusing correction. You prove it by knowing what to receive, what to adapt, and what to leave behind. But the opposite error is equally dangerous. A method that worked for someone else is not a guarantee for you. Their responsibility may be different. Their capacity may be different. Their season may be different. Their intended contribution may be different. A useful method in one assignment can become a costly distraction in another. So honor the lesson, but question the form. Receive wisdom, but refuse identity theft. Study the principle, but protect the assignment. You are still responsible for every method you adopt, every opportunity you pursue, and every direction you choose. The purpose of learning is not to make you a duplicate. It is to make you more capable of carrying what is uniquely yours. Let another person's example sharpen you, not replace you. Let it awaken discipline, not erase distinction. Let it increase your capacity, not rewrite your identity. Yet even when identity is protected, comparison can enter through another door. You may stop copying another person's methods and still feel compelled to match their pace. And that is where the timetable trap begins. Someone else appears to have arrived, and suddenly your own process feels late. Nothing may have changed in your assignment. Nothing may have changed in your responsibility. Nothing may have changed in the work before you. But because you saw another person standing in a place you desire, peace becomes panic and preparation becomes embarrassment. That is the timetable trap. Movement is not maturity. Opportunity is not readiness. Rapid exposure is not completed preparation. A door can open before your character is strong enough to carry what waits behind it. A platform can enlarge your influence before wisdom has enlarged your capacity. When you borrow another person's timetable, patience begins to look like failure. Preparation begins to feel like punishment. Steady work begins to appear insignificant. You stop building for endurance and start performing for acceleration. But urgency is only useful when it comes from responsibility. Urgency becomes destructive when it comes from comparison. One says, act because the assignment requires action. The other says, hurry because someone else arrived before you. Those voices do not lead to the same destination. Comparison-driven haste creates a double danger. It can make you rush into a position your character cannot sustain, or it can make you abandon a process that is producing necessary growth. One danger pushes you forward prematurely. The other drives you backward through discouragement. Both steal the value of your present season. Delay is not always denial. Speed is not always progress. Being unseen is not the same as being unproductive. Roots do not apologize because fruit is not yet visible. Their hidden work is what makes visible life sustainable. So test the pressure you feel. Ask, what does my present responsibility require? Ask, what capacity still needs to be developed? Ask, what decision would remain wise if I could not see anyone else's pace? That final question will expose artificial urgency. If the decision loses its importance when the comparison disappears, it may never have belonged to your assignment. Do not use patience as an excuse for fear, but do not use ambition as an excuse for panic. Respect preparation without worshiping delay. Move with discipline, not desperation. Act when responsibility speaks, not when another person's calendar accuses you. Your season does not become inferior because it is different. Your preparation does not become meaningless because it is private. Honor the work required now and let readiness, not rivalry, determine your next step. Yet the timetable trap becomes most powerful when you compare your hidden preparation with another person's public visibility. You see what has been revealed, but you do not see the whole story behind it. You see the outcome, but you do not see the whole story. You see the opportunity, the recognition, the public reward. You do not see the full weight, the private cost, the surrounding context, or the responsibility required to sustain what has become visible. Visibility compresses a complex life into a simple image. Then imagination fills the empty spaces. You assume the person is fulfilled because they are celebrated. You assume they are prepared because they are promoted. You assume they are significant because they are seen. Comparison turns these assumptions into false equations. Being noticed does not automatically mean being important. Receiving attention does not automatically mean being prepared. Public reward does not automatically mean inner fulfillment. And limited exposure does not mean limited value. Purpose reverses these equations. Significance comes from contribution. Readiness is tested by responsibility. Fulfillment requires alignment. Value does not begin when an audience discovers you. A seed does not become valuable when it breaks the ground. Its value was already present while its work remained hidden. In the same way, your unseen development is not empty time. Your private discipline is not wasted effort. Your quiet contribution is not insignificant merely because it cannot be publicly measured. But when visibility becomes the goal, priorities become distorted. You perform before developing substance. You announce before completing. You seek recognition before learning to serve. You become more concerned with appearing ready than becoming trustworthy. Visibility itself is neither corrupt nor virtuous. It is a tool. It can enlarge contribution or it can enlarge ego. It can extend service or it can intensify distraction. The danger begins when being watched replaces being useful as the reason for your work. So when a public opportunity appears, ask a governing question. Does this exposure enlarge my capacity to serve my assignment, or does it merely enlarge the number of people watching me? Not every audience is an advancement. Not every invitation is alignment. Not every increase in attention is an increase in purpose. Become trustworthy in unseen responsibility. Build substance before display. Develop capacity before demanding recognition. Complete the work when no one is applauding. Because private faithfulness prepares you to govern public attention. If visibility comes, let it serve the assignment. Do not let it become the assignment. Let attention become a channel, not a crown, a tool, not a master, a means, not your measure. When visibility loses its authority, you no longer need another person's exposure to interpret your worth. Then you can confront the emotions comparison has been producing. Inferiority when someone appears ahead of you, and pride when someone appears behind. Inferiority and pride appear to be opposites, but they are twins. Both are born from the same era, using another person as the measuring instrument of your identity. Inferiority looks upward and says, because they are ahead, I must be late. Because their gift is visible, mine must be insufficient. Because they received the reward, I must have been forgotten. Pride looks downward and says, because they are struggling, I must be superior. Because they are moving slowly, I can become comfortable. Because their weakness is visible, my importance must be greater. One makes you feel smaller, the other makes you feel larger. But both make someone else the center of your attention. That is the deception. Comparison does not care whether it lowers you or lifts you, as long as it controls you. It can imprison you through shame, or it can imprison you through self-importance. It can make you withdraw from responsibility, or it can make you congratulate yourself before the work is finished. Inferiority is not humility. Humility accepts responsibility without worshiping self. It can recognize limitation without denying value. It can receive correction without surrendering identity. And confidence is not pride. Confidence acts from identity without requiring another person to be diminished. It does not need someone else to fail so that it can feel secure. True confidence can celebrate another person because it is not competing for permission to exist. Both false identities steal energy from contribution. Inferiority steals it through paralysis. You hesitate, doubt, retreat, and silence what should be developed. Pride steals it through distraction. You compare, judge, boast, and admire yourself while responsibility remains unfinished. So watch your emotional reactions. When another person's progress makes you feel worthless, ranking has replaced purpose. When another person's difficulty makes you feel important, ranking has replaced purpose. The emotional direction is different, but the governing error is the same. Reject the scale. Bless what is good in another person. Learn what is relevant. Refuse the invitation to rank. Then return immediately to the work entrusted to you. Do not ask whether their gift makes yours smaller. Ask whether you are developing yours. Do not ask whether their delay makes you greater. Ask whether you are being faithful. Do not use another person's life as either an accusation or a pedestal. Comparison asks, who is greater? Purpose asks, what remains unfinished? And once you reject ranking, the full cost becomes visible. Comparison has not merely disturbed your emotions. It has been redirecting your decisions, consuming your energy, and leaving necessary work undone. No one can steal your assignment by succeeding in theirs. The real theft occurs when comparison persuades you to stop investing in what has been entrusted to you. Another person did not take your purpose. Your divided attention weakened your commitment to it. Look at the practical evidence. Plans are abandoned before they mature. Methods are changed before they can be tested. Money is spent on tools that do not serve the work. Commitments are accepted because they look impressive. Routines are weakened. Completion is delayed. Energy is scattered across directions that were never examined. When someone else changes direction, you change. When they accelerate, you panic. When they receive praise, you question your value. Their movement becomes a command, and your life becomes a reaction. Reactive living can look like ambition because it produces constant activity. But activity is not completion. You can begin many things, announce many things, attempt many things, and still bring little responsibility to maturity. Scattered effort keeps planting, but never remains long enough to cultivate. Fascination watches what others are building. Stewardship develops what has been placed within your care. Fascination asks, what are they doing now? Stewardship asks, what must I finish next? One consumes attention. The other converts attention into contribution. So conduct an honest audit. What responsibility have you neglected while watching someone else advance? What did you begin because it attracted applause? What did you abandon because progress appeared too slow? What commitment still deserves your discipline? What work remains incomplete, not because you lack ability, but because you repeatedly redirected your energy? Do not ask these questions to condemn yourself. Shame looks backward and declares that nothing can change. Responsibility looks clearly at what happened and decides what must change now. The purpose of the audit is recovery. Recovery of attention, recovery of choice, recovery of disciplined action. You cannot revise every past decision, but you can govern the next one. You can return to the plan. You can simplify the method. You can restore the routine. You can finish what still belongs to you. Stop asking what another person's success says about you. Their success may say nothing about your identity, your timing, or your value. Ask instead, what is my unfinished responsibility demanding from me now? Let that demand reorganize your attention. Let it challenge your excuses. Let it call your gift back into service. But recovering neglected work requires more than another burst of motivation. Motivation can begin a return, but only inner authority can sustain it. You must restore the power to decide what deserves your yes, what requires your no, and what is worthy of your continued attention. Inner authority is the disciplined ability to make decisions from understood purpose rather than from pressure, envy, praise, or the fear of becoming irrelevant. It is not stubbornness, it is not isolation, it is not the refusal to receive wisdom. Inner authority means that after you have listened, examined, and learned, you remain responsible for the direction you choose. Purpose must become the governor of that direction. Purpose is not a vague feeling that you are meant to be important. It becomes visible through responsibility, contribution, developed capacity, and work brought to completion. If purpose never governs your time, your habits, your boundaries, or your service, it remains only an inspiring idea. So clarify your assignment. Who are the people you are equipped to serve? What need are you prepared to address? What contribution are you developing? What responsibilities are already in your hands? What values will you refuse to violate even when compromise promises visibility? Clarity creates boundaries. An attractive opportunity can still be the wrong opportunity. A popular method can still be unsuitable. A good invitation can still deserve a disciplined no. Everything available is not assigned, and everything possible is not profitable to your purpose. Some people fear that refusing comparison will reduce ambition. But competitive anxiety and purposeful excellence are not the same. Competitive anxiety needs someone to defeat. Purposeful excellence needs something worthy to develop. Anxiety produces restless movement. Purpose produces concentrated effort. Alignment does not make you passive. It makes you precise. It strengthens patience because you understand what you are preparing for. It creates endurance because the work is connected to conviction. It enables you to say no without guilt and yes without needing applause. Before you make a decision, apply a simple filter. Does this choice strengthen my contribution? Does it develop the capacity my responsibility requires? Does it honor what is already in my hands? Would I still choose it if no one publicly recognized me for it? If the choice enlarges your image but weakens your responsibility, question it. If it fills your calendar but empties your contribution, refuse it. If it wins approval but violates your values, release it. Reclaim your calendar. Reclaim your attention. Reclaim the standards you surrendered to public ranking. Let purpose decide what enters your life, what remains in your life, and what must leave your life. Inner authority returns when you stop asking the crowd to confirm what responsibility has already made clear. Govern your choices. Protect your direction. Give sustained attention to what deserves completion. But once authority is restored, another question arises. How will you know that you are making progress? You still need a measure, but it cannot be applause, visibility, or rank. The measuring instrument must now come from the assignment itself. If you remove public ranking but do not replace it with a better standard, comparison will return to fill the vacuum. You still need to know whether you are progressing. You still need honest evaluation. But the scorecard must come from assignment, not applause. The first measure is faithfulness. Faithfulness asks whether you are honoring the responsibility you accepted, especially when the work is unseen, slow, and uncelebrated. Did you show up? Did you protect the time the work required? Did you continue after the excitement disappeared? Did you keep your commitment when no one was watching? Faithfulness is not glamorous, but it creates trust. It teaches your gift to remain available when your emotions are not enthusiastic. The second measure is growth. Are your character, judgment, skill, discipline, and capacity becoming strong enough to carry greater responsibility? Growth is not restless accumulation. More information does not automatically mean more wisdom. More activity does not automatically mean more discipline. More exposure does not automatically mean more capacity. Real growth improves the quality of your contribution. It makes you more prepared, more discerning, more consistent, and more useful. The third measure is contribution. Ask what your effort is producing beyond your image. Is it solving a real problem? Is it strengthening another person? Is it creating useful value? Is it serving a responsibility larger than self-display? Contribution may be quiet. It may be gradual. It may be difficult to rank. But service does not become insignificant because it cannot be converted into applause. Purpose asks whether the work is useful, not merely whether the worker is visible. The fourth measure is completed responsibility. Do not reward yourself only for beginning. Track what you have brought to a responsible conclusion. Endless beginnings can create the appearance of ambition while hiding a pattern of avoidance. Busyness starts many things. Discipline finishes what deserves completion. These four measures must remain together because they correct one another. Faithfulness without growth can become stagnation. Growth without contribution can become self-absorption. Contribution without completion can become scattered intention. Completion without faithfulness can become an occasional performance rather than a dependable life. Build a recurring rhythm of review. Examine your faithfulness. Examine your growth. Examine your contribution. Examine your completion. Identify one honest correction. Choose the next responsible action. Then return to the work without checking where everyone else ranks. Let the scorecard become your refrain. Faithful in commitment, growing in capacity, useful in contribution, responsible in completion. This standard remains stable when attention rises, when attention falls, and when attention never comes. It gives you a way to improve without envying, to evaluate without ranking, and to pursue excellence without surrendering identity. Applause is not evil. Recognition is not forbidden. But applause must never become your judge, your compass, or your reward. Receive it without depending on it. Lose it without losing direction. Let assignment measure the life that attention can only observe. Now the scorecard is clear. The final task is decision. You must break with every borrowed race, release every borrowed standard, and convert conviction into immediate action. You can win the wrong race. You can move quickly, rise visibly, and receive recognition while traveling farther from your assignment. Impressive movement without alignment is not the success you are seeking. So make the decision now. Observation must not become measurement. Learning must not become imitation. Visibility must not define significance. Another person's pace must not dictate your timing. Their life may instruct you, but it must not govern you. Name one borrowed standard you must release. Name one neglected responsibility you must recover. Name one action you can complete without announcement, recognition, or applause. Then act. Withdraw your attention from ranking. Stop rehearsing another person's advantages. Return to preparation. Honor the responsibility already in your hands. Complete the work that comparison persuaded you to neglect. This is not indifference to other people. It is government of self. It is not the rejection of excellence. It is the protection of identity. It is not a lack of ambition. It is the concentration of purpose. When assignment becomes your standard, another person's success no longer accuses you. It can inform you without controlling you. It can inspire you without erasing you. You can celebrate their progress because you no longer need their position to interpret your worth. Let faithfulness govern your habits. Let growth strengthen your capacity. Let contribution direct your gifts. Let completion testify to your discipline. Choose responsibility over ranking. Choose alignment over applause. Choose steady preparation over artificial urgency. Choose the work that belongs to you over the race that merely attracts attention. You do not need to be ahead of everyone else. You need to be aligned. You need to be responsible. You need to be moving faithfully toward the assignment placed within your care. Leave the borrowed race. Recover your attention. Protect your direction. Finish your work. Let others run with courage, and let their progress inspire gratitude rather than envy. But you run the course that purpose has made yours. Measure your life by faithfulness, growth, contribution, and completion. You were not created to become a successful imitation. You were created to become a faithful original.